Welcome everybody to Tilted Glory Gaming. Today, I thought it'd be fun to go over all the monsters in Base World and rank them on how good I think they are. As far as their fights, their themes, everything. Couple ground rules. We're going to use basically the strongest versions of each one of them. So, like, the Great Jagras would be the greatest Jagras. Um, Obviously, all the Elder Dragons would be Arch-Tempered versions. And then Extreme Behemoth. We've not played that one on the channel at this point, but I have played him before. Kolv Taroth, spoiler alert, no. Just no. I don't find that enjoyable at all. But anyways, if you do like this video, please do like, subscribe, share the video, leave a comment. All would be much appreciated. But without further ado, let's get going. So we start off with Great Jagras, and from the beginning of the game through most of the game, some of the best weapons you can get are from Great Jagras. I'm sorry. It is just a great opening monster. Teaches you about mechanics in the game. It's a nice punching bag for starting. Like if you are just getting into it and don't know what you're doing. But also with the greatest Jagras, it's also formidable at the end of Base World. If you're not careful. It can kill you quite easily. But that paired with the fact that it's got some of the best weapons in the game, like the strongest ones for the base game, I mean, you can't go wrong. So, Great Jagras, up at the top. Pookie Pookie. Pookie Pookie, I don't think Pookie Pookie does anything excellent. I don't think Pookie Pookie also is horrible at anything. Another decent punching bag. You've got the poison mechanic. It's a very interesting monster. Nothing like super mundane or anything like that. I mean, it's got the tongue. It's got the tail that spits poison as well. It's very interesting monster. It just doesn't stand out too much by anything, drastic there. So we're going to put it in C tier. Not because it's bad. I don't consider bad until we get down here to E or F. Kulu Yaku. Kulu Yaku, the best version of this one would be the quest that you can only do once to unlock basically the Witcher quest line, where it gets the crystal from the Witcher series, and it just grows really big. So that's a lot of fun. Otherwise, he's forgettable. It just meh. The egg's kind of cool. He can pick up the egg and eat the egg. He picks up rocks. Those are annoying, but it's a cool mechanic. So I'm not knocking him for that. But he's just forgettable. He does pick up a pot one time. Once. That's it. I don't think you can pick up a pot more than that cutscene at the beginning when you find him. So, put him in D tier. Just, again, very forgettable monster. Tobi Kadachi. Tobi Kadachi, to me, is not S tier. But it's darn close. Tobi both is fast, but also kind of easy to deal with. He can catch you off guard with his tail slams and whatnot when you're first starting out and you don't know his mechanics. But overall, I'd say he's not a bad fight. He's not a hard fight. Um, but he is one of the faster monsters to start off. I'd say the only other monster that's really gives you any other speed issue would be Odogaron, um, which is kind of sad. You know, there's not a lot of just like real twitchy, fast monsters. Anjanath. A tier. But above Toby. I've said it before, I'll say it again. The thing with Angie is, one, he's a brute, and they get up so quickly from knockdowns. I'm sorry, I'm going to hold it against him. He gets up so quickly from knockdowns, it's so hard to actually like concentrate damage on his face. I mean, it can be done. I mean, it's not super difficult, but you know. Also, I just don't like the back fins. I don't know what it is. I don't like them. I'd be okay with the snout coming out, but the back fins I've never been a fan of. I know they're something to do with the lore of the monster. For some reason, he has them. I don't know if it's to dissipate heat, regulate body temperature kind of thing. I'm not sure, but I don't like them. They're just not meh. They don't look good when they come out, I don't think. They look kind of clipped in there. So those are just blech. Otherwise, though, great monster. Very good when he actually gets angry and he starts shooting fire everywhere. That makes it very enjoyable. It gets to be, you know, more intense. And I know he was a lot of people's like first wall when Monster Hunter World first came out. And that kind of, you know, propelled him up. Also, he's kind of like a secondary flagship of Monster Hunter World. So there is that. Barroth. I tell you what, I like him better in here than I did in 3rd gen. 3rd gen, when he first got introduced, he was, I don't know, I didn't care for him that much. It just always seemed to me like he was just spamming the running back and forth, not doing much else. So it was rather annoying. And they always introduce him when you don't have a good enough sharpness to deal with his head popping around everywhere that you're trying to hit. Not a horrible monster. I think we're going to put him in C right below Pookie. Rathian. I love me some Rathian hunts. If you didn't know, the cover art on the game, like the symbol that has the dragon in the background from the original game, that is not a Rathalos. That's a Rathian. So it's almost like the series mascot, but it's not. Everyone thinks it's more of a Rathalos thing, but it's Rathian. Rathian's just... It's Rathalos, but it sticks to the ground more. So it's just better. Plus, she's got a super squishy head. I just like that fight. That's a good fight. When we do fight her in Rise, I know everyone, when Rise came out, people were having like troubles with the what do you call it? The Rathian that was all souped up in the base game. I forget what they're called. But anyways, I loved fighting that thing. And I love it in this game too. Rathian is a good fight. Get base Rathian. Base Rathian is a good fight. Gyarados, this game, unfortunately, is not great. It's not a horrible fight. It just doesn't do anything great. Controversial decision here. Very controversial. But we're going to put Gyarados in C tier above Barroth. Sorry. I like him better. I like him better. And he only improved going forward. He only improved going forward, and I don't think he's bad. He's just kind of dull. That's all. Titsy again, you'll fight him because you need his claws for stuff. Just randomly, as you've seen throughout the playthrough of World. You just randomly need his claws for shit. Like, a lot of stuff you randomly need Tobi-Kadachi stuff for. At least it always feels that way. Random stuff you always need Tobi-Kadachi claws. Or not Tobi-Kadachi, Titsy claws. So he stays relevant in that way. But if it wasn't for that, would you ever really fight him again? Like, he's got the Flash, which can come in clutch when you're fighting another monster, like a Legiana or something, and it starts flying, and all of a sudden, here comes Titsy and flashes it out of the air. But then he just becomes an issue. he's kind of like a little jerk. You know what? Just because of that, just because he comes in and ruins fights by flashing you, we're moving him up. We're moving him to C tier. We're gonna move him above Pookie, because that is enjoyable to a point. Okay, our little flying rat thing here. No, just no. Paolumu has always just been kind of, I don't know. Again, I don't. I'm not a big fan. Not a big fan of Paolumu. Paolumu we're gonna put down here. It's not an F monster. It's not like horrible. I wouldn't say it's the worst thing in the world. I just don't like fighting it. I never have like an enjoyable time fighting it. Anytime I have to go fight a Paolumu, I'm just like, it's a chore. Again, not because it's hard. It's just meh. Not really looking forward to it. All right. Great Gyros. Because of the design, we're going to bump him up. And I don't care what anyone says. He's going into A. He falls off. Like, he does fall off. You see him the first time. You have to fight him. You have to slay him or fight him. I forget which one it is. I don't remember if you actually have to kill him or if you just have to find him when you first go down to Rotten Vale. Look back through the episodes. You'll find it. But that's it. After that, you may not even see him again. Like, because most of the monsters, you don't have to fight up in that top area. Odogaron, you can keep down in the bottom area. If you fight him fast enough, he doesn't leave the bottom area. Valhazak never leaves the bottom area to go up that way unless you're taking super long. Basil goes up there, but Basil has so many other zones that he could be in that the chances of him being with Great Gyros is just so small. If they made a better version of him, I think I'd have him in S tier with Great Jagras. I honestly do. I love the design of him. He's just a big cobra with legs, but I think he's so freaking cool. I like him. I like him a lot. Radabon. He has the Diablos horns on him. He just has, skeleton pieces all over him, bones everywhere. I think he's cool. I think he's cool. Well, he's going to be our first bee monster, I think. He's not as annoying to fight as Uragaan is. But he's essentially the same monster. Like, they have basically the same exact moveset. Basically. There's small differences. Which was a problem with World. World had a very limited roster of monsters, and they did not vary what they had. I get that, you know. But that being said, I do like Uragaan. I think he was a cool design. I think it was a cool idea, and I hope in the future when they use him, they change up his moves different from Uragaan. More so, that they are really like separate monsters. It doesn't feel like you're just playing a different skin of Uragaan. Legiana. You know, as much shit as I give this monster, and I do give this monster shit, I did nothing but complain about Legiana. It's not actually Legiana that's the problem. It's Screeching Legiana that made me hate Legiana. So we're going to put Legiana up here in A tier. I know that's off brand. I know it is. But I don't mind Legiana as a base monster. I don't. And I don't even mind Legiana in Master Rank when we get there. But Screeching is so bad. Screeching Legiana just ruins my freaking thoughts of Legiana, period. It's horrible. Odogaron. He can be really threatening, or he can be really easy. If you keep up the attack on Odogaron, you can, like, trip him left and right. You can make the fight super fast, as we saw when we fought a bunch of them in a row. I think Odo is right here. I like him. His double claws are cool. He's just a hyper puppy on freaking, you know, something. You know, he's got them kibble bits and he's freaking running around. Oh boy. Rathian, but harder skin. I don't think Pink Rathian adds enough to really be considered good. She's not as bad as Kulu. Not as forgettable. But like, low rank and high rank, I'll fight regular Rathian over Pink Rathian all day. Also, she doesn't have that many like unique upgrade materials. When you get to upgrade like Rathian stuff, you use a couple things from Pink Rathian and then mostly Rathian, because a lot of their stuff is interchanged. I don't think she does enough. And by the time Master Rank comes around, you're not fighting Pink Rathian anyways. Spoiler alert, there's another one that you're going to be fighting. We'll go over that when we get there. She's so hyper, but better fight too. It takes everything that Pink Rathian has and just makes it better. Rathalos, he's cool in this game. I like him. I think they did really good with the redesign on him. It's so much better looking than it was before. And he's just a fun fight. He does stay in the air too long, so I'm going to put him behind Rathian, not ahead of. I do think he's the cooler of the two monsters. Um, but he stays in the air too long. Like, what do you do with that? You just sit there and flash him, and then when they buff flash pods in the base game, then you couldn't just flash him out of the air constantly anymore. And it just kind of Diablos. I've been fighting this thing since Gen 1. And I mean, he's cool. I like him. But I just want Monoblos back, man. Give me something different. Diablos is in everything. We have 2 of them in this. Speaking of, we only fought the Black Diablos one time. One time. I never realized there wasn't actually a hunt that you had to go fight it. I did not remember that. Oh, Dodogama. Adorable. Interesting that when he eats the rocks, his mouth area has the highest hit zone in the game, if memory serves. But what's he do? He's late in game. He's not a threat. The only reason that he would be a threat is because you just don't take him seriously and you just stop trying to dodge and you just try and blast through it. I think this is quite possibly the monster that I care least about fighting. I don't regret fighting Dodo, but I remember when World came out and everyone was like, "Oh, don't kill Dodo, only capture Dodo. Dodo's so cute, blah blah blah." And everyone's like, "Oh, I think there's one slay quest for Dodo at the beginning, and that's it." And everyone's like, "Oh, you have to have all the captures. You can't have slays." I had one capture and slayed him, I'd say probably 30 times. I'm not a fan of Dodo. He's just meh. Forgettable. Again, another monster that you don't see because the Elder's Recess is filled up by other monsters. Other high rank monsters, like high tiers. So you just don't see him. You don't fight him. He's forgettable. He doesn't have any great equipment. So, fuck lava fish. Yep. That's what I said. Don't get me wrong. When this thing first came out with the tempered version that dropped all the gems, I used to farm the shit out of this thing. Levisioth with a heavy bowgun shooting clusters when it was that quest was not bad. But you also kind of wanted to drag it out so you could get more drops. Because I think he only dropped stuff when he'd drop a shiny on the ground, he'd do it. But also when he left the lava puddles, he would leave shinies down. And those would all be, decorations. That was fun. Otherwise, no. And that wasn't so much about fighting him. It was about just making it last as long as possible. Whereas Great Jagras is a decent fight. It's not a hard fight until you get to the Greatest Jagras, and then he will clap you if you are not careful. When he spits up food, it leaves decorations on the ground, but that shit hurts. You get hit by one of them, and you're not at full health. You're just casually just screwing around. It'll kill you. It'll make you faint. So yeah. Better. Worse. Two very opposite ends of the spectrum here. Very opposite. Also, another monster you do not fight. So many like mid to high tier monsters, um, aside from Elder Dragons, that you just do not fight because it just glances over them, unless you go out of your way to fight them. Uragaan. Again, another monster I remember fighting in Try. I think Try was his first time in, if memory serves as well. Just like Baroth. He was cool then. He's still kind of cool. But I prefer Radabon. I do. Um, I think he's going to go in D tier. Just because I don't ever see a point. I don't. Um, I don't play any weapons that guard. And that's what all his armor is, basically, in this. If memory serves, they're like high guard armor point weapons. Azure Rathalos. More flyy boy than regular Rathalos. But I'll tell you, if you get Greatsword, you can topple this guy easy. I think he goes here. I've always liked Azure. He does fly more than regular Rathalos, or it always seemed to me like he did. But I just like him better than some of the other monsters. Not better than regular Rathalos. Regular Rathalos is goated. Has to be. But Black Diablos. It's regular Diablos. Just more angry. I believe these ones are females in heat, if memory serves. Yeah. I have no, like, real feelings one versus the other. I feel like they both played similar enough that I don't really care which one it is. I'll put Black Diablos higher just because it is technically higher tier as far as weapons and stuff. Like, usually the upgrades take Black Diablos for the final form, rather than regular Diablos. Basil. I used to hate Basil. I used to hate him. Because back when I played Greatsword through World, it always seemed like that little asshole would come through and get me as soon as I was going for True Charge or True Charge Slash. You know, the real wind up one. You know, the third one, where you do the little flippy. I think that's what it's called. True Charge Slash. He would always like dive bomb me right then, or throw freaking his little scale seed things down and blow me up. So he really annoyed me, but I've grown to really like him. Later on, we're gonna fight another version of him, and I can't say which one's better offhand, because I want to fight the other one before I say anything, but I feel like the other one's going to grow me as well. For some reason, the name's escaping me. It's just a stronger Basil. Kieran. I remember stories from when I was a kid of this monster named Kieran that everyone would say was so difficult. And I never played online when I was a kid, because we did not have access to the internet for games. Our parents would not allow us to do that. So all I ever played up until I moved out, got my own place, was just base game stuff. No, you know, extra stuff that came in. And I don't know when the first time you could fight him was, but I know he wasn't in base regular Monster Hunter, and I know he wasn't in Try. And those are the two games that I played when I was living at home with my parents yet. Um, wasn't long after Try that I moved out, and then I got all the games. Um, Eventually, you guys will be able to see those when I, you know, actually have the camera going. I have them all sitting behind me here. But always heard stories about Kieran. I like the fight. I think it's difficult for the correct reasons. He is a little pokey boy. He'll just come up to you and just poke you with his head, just like a little freaking asshole, just to antagonize you, just to show you he can. I'm gonna say Kieran's up here. I like Kieran. Little freaking unicorn thunder horse with an attitude. Nergi. Okay. I'm sorry, Great Jagras, but you gotta move. Possibly one of my favorite Elder Dragons. Very, very, very difficult fight if you do not know the concept of how to fight him. Once you learn how to fight him and learn that you have to just start breaking his spikes, and that topples him and keeps him basically CC'd, it becomes super easy. So it's one of those fights that you just get better as the more you play it because you learn the mechanic. But he can still kick your butt if you're not on top of it. You cannot go in and just be lazy with Nergi. If Nergi's spikes go black, they're harder to break. You're gonna bounce if your sharpness isn't high enough. It's a monster you have to pay attention to be good. And I like that. I like Nergi. And his Arch-Tempered version, I should have said this about Kieran. His Arch-Tempered version is not utter bullshit. He does have like almost an instant dive. But even with Switch Axe, I never found myself too in trouble with it. Like, it would hit me from time to time, but it wasn't like he was constantly taking me out with the move. So I didn't mind it. I liked it. And he actually did have that, where some of the other Elder Dragons didn't really have anything as far as moves go. At least nothing substantial that mattered or made them differentiate between the base versions. Kieran Arch-Tempered was just hits harder and lots more lines of lightning. But I think that makes the fight better. Vaal Hazak, again, another one of my favorite Elder Dragons. I love fighting Vaal. Love fighting Vaal. I do find it very unfortunate that they changed him for Master rank and they didn't just move him up and have the subspecies. If memory serves, there's only the subspecies when you move up. That I don't like. But I think Vaal's fight is amazing. I love that fight. Okay. Kushala. Oh, I should say this too. I'll put Kushala there. Vaal Hazak. It feels like his Arch-Tempered version. I've not tested it, but it feels like his Arch-Tempered version. The effluvium hurts you more. It like wears you down quicker. But you can play around it. It's not an insta-kill. Like another monster that we know. A No Berry will get you out of it and stop it. Okay? And then you can just potion up from there. Not a big deal. Also, there's things around that you can shoot into the effluvium to clear it. Okay? If you don't know, the torch pods that you can pick up on the ground in the Vale, in the Rotten Vale. If you launch those at the effluvium, it creates a little fire, and the effluvium dissipates in that small area. They're everywhere. You can just shoot those around. Again, unlike other monsters, where it seems like you have to play one playstyle or you're gonna have a bad time, Valhazak is not like that. Alright, going to Kushala. Kushala's only thing that it has in this game is the wind pressure. The wind pressure will screw you. You won't be able to hit it. It just knock you back. So again, it is funneling you toward a playstyle that you have to play. I mean, you don't have to play it, but if you don't, you're freaking angry at your life. I don't think it's a horrible monster, but this is definitely not its best version. Rise has a much better version of this monster. I'm going to put Kushala up here. Teostra. One of the best armor sets in the game. He is the best lion-based Elder Dragon that was ever made. Fuck you, Luna. His fight is very learnable. He doesn't have some bullshit attack that will just annihilate you. Yes, I know he has Supernova. I know it will one-shot you if you don't have things properly spec'd going into the fight. Like if you don't take Vitality or Eat, you're gonna get one-shot by Supernova. But it's not a whole goddamn zone that it takes up. It's a small radius. It's a big enough radius that it is formidable. But it's small enough that it's not bullshit. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't feel like bullshit. Also, he doesn't have horrible hit zones, and I do like that about him. He's going top of A. I'm not putting him in S. I don't think he's on par with these two. I like these two better. His Arch-Tempered version, there's not much difference than regular. He is what he is. Oh boy. In this game, I like Devil Joe. I like the pickle. The pickle is good. The pickle is working. Good monster. He's just fun to fight. He can kick your shit in quite easily if you are not prepared for him. He was an expansion monster. He was not in the base game originally. They added him in. I think he was the first DLC. But it was free DLC, so everyone got him. And he was very formidable to start out. But I do like the fight. Anyone have any questions? Any questions about that one? Any questions about the bullshit that is this monster? The fact that its armor set is a complete meme for the fight is all you need to know. I hate this monster. And maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm just bad. Maybe I am. But I hate Lunastra. It is basically like you took... It's the same thing as Rathalos and Rathian. Okay? Rathalos, Rathian, essentially. Okay? Male, female versions, same monster. Except for how they did these slightly different. but both are good. Teostra's good. Luna just has some cheap bullshit AoE that takes up the entire zone. And side note, because I know someone eventually is going to say it, I'm aware Astera Jerky exists. I know it's a me thing. I have a thing against Astera Jerky. I don't use it. I don't know why. I just don't like it. I've never used Astera Jerky before. I stand corrected. I have used Astera Jerky before, but in a better fight, which we are not to yet. However, I just don't like using Astera Jerky. I feel like it's cheap. I feel like it's not right. I don't know. It's a weird little line that I made for myself that has no meaning whatsoever and probably makes my experience of the game worse. But by golly, it's my experience of the game, so I will take it. It's mine. Hate this monster. Stay down there in the depths of hell and never come out. Okay. Zorah Magdaros. Boring. It's a boring fight. Even Arch-Tempered. Beat it our first try. I know people were running into issues when this first came out that they were not making the time limit because that's how you lose. You don't make the time limit. And then you lose the fight for the Arch-Tempered because I think this one was 25 minutes? But we beat it first time. Now, we did go in knowing about the fight and knowing to use heavy artillery. But otherwise, it's not horrible. It's not a fight, really. It's, hey, go attack this thing. Hey, shoot it with this. It never attacks you directly. It, attacks in an area somewhere around you. If you're there, cool. If you're not, cool. It doesn't matter. It doesn't know. It just randomly attacks. The majority of the time, you will go through an entire hunt against Zorah Magdaros, and unless you're standing in the middle of the barricade when it does its big attack at the end, you're never going to get hit by actual Zorah. So in that case, we're putting it down here. It's just forgettable. I mean, it's not forgettable because, it's the whole premise of the story. But, again, you're never going to go back to fight it, to enjoy it. It's just there. Xeno'jiiva, the base form, is fine. It's easy. The Arch-Tempered form is hard because of the time limit, because of the fact that it always seems to move when you get a leg lined up to hit it, because you can only hit the freaking legs. If you try and go after the head, you're just running around. If you're trying to hit the tail, good fucking luck it doesn't lift it high enough that you can't hit it. You know? You're just tapping at the toes, trying to topple it to be able to do something. I don't like big monsters where you can't actually fight the monster. If you can't fight the monster, what are we doing? The monster's not... It doesn't feel like the monster's fighting us. It feels like the monster's flicking at a flea. Get away from me. You're in my general vicinity. I don't... There's not the one-to-one thing that you get with some of the other monsters. They lock in on you, you lock in on them, and it's like a duel. This is more like you're an ant just running around underneath a person trying to, bite its toe. For that reason, we're putting it here. Again, I like the design. I like the base fight. The Arch-Tempered one is just a little bit bullshit for me. Because I think it's artificial difficulty. with the limited time. They did give it a lot more moves than base version, which they had to because base version was like nothing. But they gave it a lot more moves than base version. But again, they all just seem bullshit. It's nothing seems genuine about the difficulty. Kolv may surprise you. I hate fighting Kolv. I don't think Kolv is like a horrible monster. I don't. I think it's an okay monster. It's basically Great Jagras, just with a different skin on it. It does like basically all the same moves, as do Great Gyros, and to a point, Dodogama. But putting it as a siege, making it the way it did, or the way they did, I think detracts from the monster itself. The way they did it just isn't good. You can make siege quests good, but the way they did this one, I think, was just flawed. Especially the drop rate of like the weapons that were good. The amount of time that people spent on this monster just to try and get the weapons. And people started off saying, "Oh, I want to go fight Kolv. It's so great." And it slowly dwindled to people being like, "Ah, I gotta fight Kolv because I still don't have the weapon I want." And there's some people that I don't think ever got it. So we'll put them here. But all right. Now we are missing one. There is Leshen. Leshen and Ancient Leshen. Leshen and Ancient Leshen, um eh. I mean, they gave people issue but not much. Like, yes, if you tried to fight it yourself, you were probably gonna die. Especially against Ancient Leshen. But I think if memory serves, I think base Leshen you could defeat by yourself. I mean, Ancient Leshen you can defeat by yourself if you're a freaking speedrunner. But base Leshen you can. I don't think that was a horrible fight. I do like the fact that they put a humanoid monster in. I thought that was cool. I know some people don't like it. I don't care. This is my opinion and my ranking, not anybody else's. If Ancient Leshen was on here, I'd probably put Ancient Leshen in B tier. Because I thought it was a cool fight. It had cool mechanics. People were like, "Oh, they could have spent time on other monsters." Blah, 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 blah. It was a crossover. That kind of stuff is cool. You want that in the game. Stop complaining that you didn't get an original monster. This and that. You're never going to fight him again outside this game. Who cares? You're never going to fight Zorah Magdaros again outside this game. And look back at how long it took them to make this thing. How much time they spent making Zorah. They could have made 10 other monsters. This is conjecture. I don't know for sure. But they could have made 10 other monsters in the time it took them to make Zorah. And we would have had so many more. And probably better fights. So that whole argument doesn't hold weight with me. I don't care about that argument. I really don't. That being said, Behemoth and Extremoth, came at a point in this game when I was playing it every day. I'd come home from work, I'd sit down and play Monster Hunter World for hours and hours. And I know a lot of people didn't beat Extremoth if they did not have a party dedicated to beating him. I beat him with randoms. I don't know how good the randoms were. I don't know any of them. I don't have video of, who they were either to look back and see what their names were. But I think it was cool that it was only a title that it gave you. because it was so hard and it was like not a real monster in the game. So it gave you a title, so you could say, "Hey, look, I beat him," but like people that couldn't beat him didn't miss out on anything, really. Now, regular Behemoth um, had like the best armor set and like insect glaive that you could get, but you could farm that up without beating him. Like I don't believe you needed to beat him to get that, if memory serves right. He brought different mechanics to the game. He was fun to fight. Even when he was beating our ass, I had a amazing time. I had an amazing time fighting him. Out of respect for the monsters of actual world like that they made, I'm not going to put him at the top of S tier, but I am going to put him at the bottom. I love the fight against Behemoth. Now, I haven't fight him yet. I've not fought him yet with Switch Axe. When I fought him, I was doing Greatsword only because my first playthrough of Monster Hunter World, I did Greatsword only. I dabbled in other stuff. There's other weapons that I used. I think I used every weapon somewhat. But Switch Axe, the whole reason I downloaded Iceborne right away was because I wanted the moveset. World Switch Axe just does not have the moveset that I want. And it's not as fun. But once you get to Iceborne, the moveset changes, and it's a lot better over time, I think. So that's why I didn't do that in your base game. So we are going to fight him. We're going to use defender weapons because it's friggin' Behemoth, and like we're going to fight him alone. Maybe we'll see if there's a group out there that we can fight him. But no promises there. Even if, that is, if anyone's even friggin' running him. Like, who's left in world that's running Behemoth? You know? You get his stuff and then that's it. You're done. Unless you're, like, trying to get down, like, get times down. But in that case, you're doing it with a set party of 4, or you're doing it by yourself. You know? But yeah, I think he's really good. And again, people are going to say, he's not an original monster. I don't care. I don't. That's fine with me. It's perfectly fine. But with that, that is our last monster of the game. Sorry, I forgot I didn't have to do that. That's usually what I do to get out of the game, to go over and switch to OBS. But that's our last monster of the game that we have to rank. So if you were here the whole time, thank you. Please like, subscribe, share the video, ring the bell, leave a comment. Tell me where I was wrong, what you would change. And we'll see you guys next time on more Monster Hunter. Bye.